Streaming is enabled. Hopefully that's working. Yes, it is. Okay. Pop out le chat. Hello, everyone. I see you popping in there. Okay. There we go. Now I can see you all. And me. Hi! Hi! Can everybody hear me okay? I should be loud and clear. Greetings from Florida. Oh man, I wish I was in Florida right now. It is hosing down right now. They've got this like big rain funnel that's heading over across the Tasman Sea and just slamming into the side of the country. There are places which will be getting a month worth of rainfall in like a couple of days. Hey Zach. Hey Damien. Hey Voltscorn. Hey the Horned King. Hey Nagel. Hey Sean. Matthew. Andrew. Persephone. Hey Evil Dick. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Good volume, excellent. Thank you very much. Oh man. Okay, let's get right into it. For those of you who don't know, my channel got hacked around the 6th of this month, the start of the month, and it was a hell of a thing. Yeah, I don't recommend it. Not a good time. It was basically my fault. Okay, so let's get that out of the way. This was avoidable. If I had just followed my standard safety protocols when it comes to dealing with promotional emails, this is one of the reasons why I don't do promotions on my channel. Or if you're a promoter who's seeking to get in contact with me, don't do it via email. Contact me directly on one of the many sources that are available. Because from now on, if you send any email to me with an attachment or something to it, I'm just going to delete it straight away. Just on the off chance that it's fishy. So yeah, I got a promotion from somebody who reported to be from Pepsi, of all things. I thought, okay. I drink Pepsi Max, you know, seemed totally legit, and then they sent me a follow-up email with a media package in it, which contained 3 very legitimate Pepsi advertising and promotional videos, and a agreement, which was an executable file, which I thought was like a form-fillable PDF. Clicked on that. It immediately got access to my Google password manager. They then got into Google, set themselves up as a parental control on my YouTube channel and my Google account and my browser. And then, yeah, the first thing I noticed that was wrong was I lost access to, I think it was my bank account details was the first thing that went, that set off the alarm bells. And then, yeah, I lost control of my YouTube channel, and all of a sudden I was like, oh no. And I was thinking maybe they'll just hack it and wreck it or something. But no, they started streaming. On the first day, it was SpaceX videos, and then they switched over to Bitcoin crap. I've got no real problem with SpaceX, but I certainly do have a problem with Bitcoin. So that was particularly brutal. It was like anything but Bitcoin. But, this is the thing. So what it was basically was it was a hacker who got lucky. They weren't particularly skilled. They left footprints all over the place. But when you get your Google Password Manager hacked, Google has access to everything on your computer. That's the convenience of it. So it's very convenient for hackers to get into everything and, lock you out of stuff. Dealing with this, the most stressful part of it was dealing with Google, essentially, trying to get in contact with them and find out what's going on and get some action. And they have a terrible, terrible system. And I had to deal with multiple departments whilst, my channel is gone and my income's gone. I don't have access to my Patreon. I don't have access to my Fourth Wall account. I don't have access to anything. I have to set up a new email, basically set up a new website, set up a new YouTube channel, set up a new Fourth Wall. And let everybody know what's going on somehow. And so it was a week of absolute grueling 48-hour days, going 2-3 days without any sleep and just like collapsing and just working at it and working at it and working at it, not giving up. It would have been a lot faster recovery if it wasn't for the just continual like 24-hour delays between messages from Google and YouTube, who are a very siloed, not customer friendly, badly organized organization. They've got a separate team that deals with the family control, parental control stuff. That's completely separate. That's a Google department. That's got nothing to do with YouTube. Then in YouTube, you've got YouTube security, who are completely separate from another YouTube department. So I was dealing with 3 different groups, all like YouTube customer service is different from YouTube security. YouTube security is like their little Stargate SG-1 team in a bunker somewhere, who are impossible to talk to unless you go through all the underlings and the interns who are reading from the FAQ sheet and telling you to delete your cookies. It's like, the cookies aren't the problem, man. My account has been hacked. It's like, can you access my account? It's like, yeah. Does it look normal? No. It's like, fix that. Anyway. So it was an absolute bitch to deal with. And I wouldn't wish it on anybody. The good side is that I did actually get everything recovered, and it's all good now. The channel is still a little bit wonky. Like I had to delete all the old playlists because they just wouldn't work. And YouTube had no answers for me. And I'm still getting error messages where the videos they deleted. I get a notification 3 or 4 times a day. We're cleaning up your channel. We're cleaning up your channel. We're cleaning up your channel. I'm like, am I still getting? Are these new videos? Are these the same videos? Why does this message keep recurring and recurring and recurring? So yeah, Google, I want to fucking strangle you guys. Sometimes it's just like, look, the problem is not sorted out. There's other ongoing issues with the thing. Like, where is my? And not once during this whole thing did I hear from a YouTube partner manager. Not once did they say, hey, we'll take care of this for you, we'll deal with the internal departments, don't worry, person who's earned us hundreds of thousands of dollars for the last 10 years, we'll sort you out. None of that. It's just none of that. And I was just like, oh my god, this is terrible. It's like, who the fuck runs this department? Who the hell runs this company? Nobody does. They're just all idiots. Anyway, yeah. The good side of it, and also the crushing side of it emotionally, was the massive amount of support that I got from everybody. You guys. It just, yeah, I was not alone the entire time. I didn't once feel like it was hopeless. Well, once or twice, I really sort of felt hopeless and threw my hands up in the air and had a little moan to myself. But for the most part, you guys just kept me driving on, because it's not just my channel, it's a vital part of a lot of people's lives. I mean, not, live or die vital, but a lot of people rely on it. And it really became just a group fight. I felt like I was in the trenches with my buddies, and you guys were all rooting for me, and yeah, it made a huge difference. I got such heartfelt messages that I just couldn't read some of them at certain points because it was just so emotional, yeah, and it was a huge thing. So I feel like all of the time and like all the conversations and all the messages and all the replies to YouTube comments and stuff like that, and all the interactions and things is the most vital part of my channel. It's the most vital part of being a content creator, because without you guys, I don't know what I would have done, honestly. And the massive amount of support that I got on Fourth Wall, like with all the annual memberships and stuff, has changed entirely the way that I do things from now on. So yeah. Are you been watching Ed Greenwood discuss Realms Lore while playing Baldur's Gate 3? I know, isn't it entertaining? Watching him play Baldur's Gate 3 is awesome. Yeah, it was horrible, man. Oh yeah, the Bitcoin stuff. It was terrible. Yeah, weird flex, AJ. Yeah, the good news is, and also the kind of stinky thing, is that the money that was generated by the hackers during the streams is mine, of course, because it's my channel. So when I got my channel restored, there was like an extra little uptick of my earnings for the month, which, yeah, I still had to wait a month to get paid for anything. And there was a week or two of absolutely no earnings whatsoever, which is, as a YouTuber, that shows up like a couple of months later. You really have to tighten the belts, because everything is like, you earn for next month and the month after that, and the month after that. So yeah, I'm going to feel the pinch next month kind of brutally. But the money that they earned from that went into my earnings, and then I noticed when I got my payout, it was like they shaved $200 off that with no explanation whatsoever. I'm like, the estimated earnings is usually fluctuates a little bit, but that was a very obvious, like, yeah, backhanded steal from Google, which I would love to have a discussion with them about exactly where that money goes. Corporation doesn't mean organization. That should be on a t-shirt. Your lore video is about 1/5 the reason why I became a DMGM in the first place. Yeah, see, that's the sort of thing I'm talking about. There's a lot of people who started, were inspired to start role-playing or running games because of my videos. Yeah, the hackers got nothing. They got nothing from me whatsoever. They didn't get anything out of my bank account because it was basically empty. I had like $6 in there. And they don't have access to my retirement saving thingy because that's locked up in a government scheme, and I can't get access to it unless I either buy a house or I turn 65. And yeah, they didn't get any of the money from the YouTube activity. There were no live donations or anything like that, but even so, that would still get paid out by the end of the month. So yeah, they didn't get access to anything. What they did do though is those Bitcoin videos and those SpaceX videos and stuff would have been channels that they were funneling views towards, because they weren't videos on my channel, they were videos on somewhere else. And they didn't actually change any of my content on my site. They just deleted, they just messed up my playlists and everything. So yeah. So I didn't lose my 1,014 videos, and I didn't lose my 216 live streams of an hour long each. And as soon as I got access back to my account, I started downloading all of the videos directly into a hard drive. I still haven't downloaded all of my live streams because I haven't been able to afford to get a new hard drive yet. But I will. So I'm going to get a solid state terabyte drive and store everything on there just in case. But it comes to about 81 gigabytes worth of just the YouTube videos alone. Or no, was it? 88 gigabytes or something like that. It's a lot of content over the last 10 years, yeah. Crowbar the Skull, what do you think about wokeness ruining D&D? I'm not even going to talk about that shit. That's all I can say is that era is over and nobody cares. Yeah, thanks for that, Richard. That's what got the channel shut down in the first place. So they would have continued on with that, and YouTube probably wouldn't have noticed unless there was tons and tons of reports from everybody. So the next thing that happened, and this is classic Google, is the new YouTube channel that I set up obviously had some of my old videos and stuff on there. And as soon as my first channel got restored, then I got they completely deleted my other channels. And this includes my secret other channel that I was hosting my YouTube music videos on. They both got completely removed for massive, there's no actual reason why they removed my second channel, because there was no content violations on there whatsoever, but they just removed it. And they also removed the new channels that I set up that had the Tabaxi channel and stuff. Hey, thanks, Moonthirst. Just to cheer you up a bit more. No questions, no time. So, okay. Thanks, dude. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, so they deleted my new channel for because it had duplicated videos on there, and they because of their system, it was like massive community violation strikes. It's like, what? Yeah. So this is fairly typical of them. So I lost the new channel and I lost my secondary channel. So all I've got left is my main channel now. So going forward, and just so everybody knows, and to keep it very out in the open and very clear, what I'm doing is this is no longer the era of AJ just putting all of my content out for free. You still get a free version of the commissioned videos that annual subscribers on Fourth Wall are allowed to. So if you are an annual subscriber on my Fourth Wall, you get a commissioned video from me on any particular topic that you want. It might even not be D&D. It might be another role-playing game. So, but for the most part, people are very interested in specific D&D topics that they want me to cover. So the first one was on the Shadowfell and the Lords of Darkness, and the Shadowvari and the Shadowkai and the Raven Queen. And the second one is a absolute doozy. It's the Mind Flayers and the Time War. So it's me delving into the really deep cut, cosmic stuff, epic level campaign stuff. This is the stuff that you mess around with when you're playing an Immortals campaign using the D&D basic Immortals lore and rule set, which is incorporated into the character that I sort of play on my channel as well. Pickeroon, I am Pickeroon, the Sage of Candlekeep, but he's also Rune, the Immortal of the Sphere of Thought. So, yeah, who's in charge of the sector of space that Faerun is in. So, yeah, not like I don't have an ego. Yeah, so I'm not going to be really delving much back into Pickeroon and Rune and that sort of story and stuff. It's mostly just me talking about lore and stuff, because a lot of people were keen on the story aspect of it, but mostly I think what draws people to my channel is just like the lore and me delving into the biology and all that sort of stuff, and just narrating, what I think. Yeah, I don't necessarily need to be a character. For storytelling and stuff like that, I can just write stories and present them as written stories or written narrations about the Forgotten Realms as an in-character narration, and not blend that with the lore and stuff. Because when people click on a video on Asmodeus, they want to get straight into the information about Asmodeus. They don't want a 20-minute story fairy tale that they can skip through before they get to it. Yeah, it's a little bit more complicated than Doctor Who, believe it or not. Because we're going to be talking, I'm going to be introducing some concepts which most of the time, if I'm talking about it outside of a D&D context, I usually get a little bit worried that people are going to have a visceral religious reaction sometimes, because I'm talking about higher dimensional beings and stuff. So yeah, and the true nature of Thune and El Sensine and the Mind Flayer gods and things. Hey, thanks, Carlos. Favorite faction in 40k and one you hate. Okay, the favorite faction is the Dark Templars. Black Templars are my favorite army. Other than that, I'm also a fan of the Tau and the Necrons. Definitely the Necrons. One that I hate, Orcs, actually. I think Orcs are a little bit cliche, and they could be a lot better. It's a love-hate relationship with the Orcs, because I really love the concept of them, but I kind of hate how parodied they are. Like they kind of make them a little bit more stupid than they need to be. I know it's fun and everything, and I certainly don't, I don't have any problems with anybody playing Orcs or anything like that. It's just like, it's a love-hate relationship with the Orcs. Other than that, also the Tau. I don't know. I don't really hate any of the factions when you think about it. They've all got good sides. Skaven are even cool, you know. I do hate that they got rid of a lot of stuff from Warhammer 40k, like the squats and the Ogren and stuff like that. And, you know, yeah. Hey, thanks, Comic Nut. After that BS, buy yourself a beer. Also, does Fourth Wall have an app or a way I can watch while driving? They do have an app, yes. And you should be able to... the Fourth Wall content you can download, okay? So it's not like it's streaming off Fourth Wall. I've got a 1 gigabyte limit on the file sizes on digital content that I can upload there. So sometimes I might have to break a video into 2 parts, perhaps. But so how it works is that it gets uploaded to the larger, more enriched. So for instance, the last video that I did on the Shadowfell, the Fourth Wall version is 10 minutes longer, around about. I think it's just under 10 minutes longer. So you can imagine how much more lore I pack into 10 minutes. So yeah, it's packed in there. The way that this works is that the Dungeons and Dragons fan content policy, which is different from their rules for publishing, is that as long as the content is available to the general public for free, they're okay with you using their IP. So essentially, the content that is on Fourth Wall is the same content that's on YouTube, just with added extras. So yeah, it should be perfectly fine as far as I know. Or if not, they can tell me, I guess. Yeah, seems fine. Hey, thanks, Damien. Here's to being back up and running. Yeah, it's good to be back. Good to be back. The good thing is that thanks to my my Scandinavian heritage, I thrive on stress and anger. So it's refueled me for the next 10 years worth of content, and I am rearing to go. I've got to put this energy somewhere, you know, this anger and frustration and nervousness. Hey, Kairos. Stanchgate, strong supporter. Hey, Mr. L. No, the Forces of Chaos are suitably weird. The Noise Marines are awesome. For bad factions, definitely Nurgle. Papa Nurgle. He's one of my faves. Oh, nice. Super heavy squat tank. That'd be cool. You're currently painting Death Guard. Nice. Yeah, I've got the only Warhammer 40k role-playing game that I currently own is Deathwatch, believe it or not. I would like to... I have run, I have played in, I've never actually run Rogue Trader and Inquisition, Dark Heresy. So those are really good role-playing games. I'm actually learning Norwegian at the moment on Duolingo, Horn King. Because I'm veldig smart. So far, I'm 3 days in and I've learned 50 words. But yeah, there seems to be some genetic thing because I'm picking it up real fast, like 100%, 100%, 100%, 100%. I'm like, this seems relatively easy. I mean, it's quite close to English, but like the little words are different. The is and the and the I and the you, those are the tricky ones. But yeah, I reckon in about 50 days, I'll have a conversational level, or at least I'll be able to read Norwegian. And yeah, it'll take a while for me to learn how to speak it fluently. But I actually talk with a bunch of people from Scandinavia on Discord all the time. They're the main people that I chat with. Yeah, because we all get on like a house on fire. Yeah, that's true, Volps. Yeah, Warhammer 40k orcs would be a terrifying scourge when you consider the way they reproduce is by spores, right? So they are partially fungal. They're like an algoid species, so they're like partially fungal based, mixed with a biological heritage of like, you know, humanoids. So they've got incredible like toughness and survivability. They can live on each other, literally create their own ecosystem from their spores on any planet that they get dusted on. So any planet that the orcs arrive on, essentially the only way to deal with it is to just scorch the earth. So when they exterminate us in Orc Planet, they burn the entire surface of the planet to just burn out all the orc spores. Otherwise, they just literally pop out of the ground. And first you get like little squigs and stuff that pop out, and they become, and then you get the snotlings, and then you get proper orcs grow. And as the population grows, it becomes more and more complex, and eventually they start, but at first they literally are eating themselves, so that the squigs are food for the snotlings, and the snotlings are the servants of the grunts, the orc boys finally show up. And then as their population grows, there's this growing genetic unlocking of genetic knowledge. So everything an orc needs to know, all of its technology is in its DNA. So they literally don't have to think about technology. They just go and put together a bolter, instinctually. They don't even have to think about it. That is terrifying. If you could put the genetic knowledge into humans, so you were born able to speak, read, had a basic understanding of internet jargon, you could repair your own cell phone, that sort of stuff. And I hate to break it to everybody, but that's probably going to be possible in less than 5 years. Like, if I could tell you, like, that's not really the focus of my channel, but I'm paying very close attention to technological developments and the rapid rate of things at the moment. Like, for instance, they just produced a AI which can analyze the human genome up to 2 million base pairs or something like that, and so they can analyze the entire human genome in large chunks. So they're looking at, like, if you have leukemia, for instance, they can look at what the effect this mutation has on all of these chemical processes in your body, and say, and like almost immediately they're like, this is why a leukemia patient has this complication and this complication. That's why these genes go cancerous, and we can't, we previously it was a mystery, and all of a sudden, like that, at 200% less processing power. So there's these massive strides in medical science at the moment, massive strides in engineering and material science, massive stride in biological and chemical engineering. And people are completely unaware because they're paying very much attention to these petty tantrum tyrants and their wars out in deserts elsewhere. Look, pay no attention to those crazy fuckers. Pay very close attention to technological developments in medicine, science, and why they are not being funded like crazy right now. If I could only say one thing to everybody, is stop buying guns and start buying aid packages for survival of the coming climate disaster and superstorms which are hitting us again and again and again. We're not at war with each other, man. We're at war with the planet. Or the planet is at war with us. That's all I got to say. Any money spent on anything else is a complete and utter waste of time, and directly results in the death of innocent people from climate disasters that they should have been funded and prepared for. Anything that a politician is doing that is not preparing you for the environmental disaster, they should be criminally charged for. Sorry, that's as deep into politics as I'm going to get. Yeah, well, okay, so the future of medicine is technology. So at the moment, we've got large language models which can interpret brain signals. Large language models are not AI, they're just pattern recognition programs, but they are able to read brainwaves. And it's not like they understand every little thing. They just see patterns and go, okay, I understand what that pattern is because this person told me that was associated with dog. So this person is dreaming, and this brain pattern is popping up. So I'm fairly sure they're thinking about a dog right now. So they can like record your brainwave signals and say, okay, this is what you're dreaming about. Progress that a little bit further and a little bit further, and if you can map the neural pathways in somebody's head through a large language model and emulate it in supercomputers, which these things are, combining with. Essentially, the future of human evolution would be a merge between AI and so synthetic intelligence and organic intelligence. So we're heading towards that future where, like the Asgard from Stargate SG-1, where we literally manufacture bodies for ourselves. So we achieve immortality by being a combination of a cybernetic and organic organism. And that is what will replace us, essentially. It won't be straight AI. We are the AI. So we are evolving into a technological species. Yeah. Oh, was it an ad just pop up? Yeah, they get inserted automatically, I'm afraid. Thanks, Damien. Back up and running, man. Oh, yeah. I was a little bit worried there for a while. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, very Ghost in the Shell. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, and that's going to happen very rapidly. So the first thing that I predict is going to start to become an influence. Like, we all know about population decline, for instance. So the people of South Korea at the moment are not replacing their population. They are not having enough babies to sustain their country. Their culture is going to disappear because there'll be 100 old people to one child. And there'll be 3 retired people for every 1 working age person who can't possibly work hard enough to afford that. So all of the people who are over a certain age in South Korea at the moment, are never going to be able to retire. It would collapse their economy completely. There won't be enough taxes from the few working people to actually afford any government processes, because governments operate on tax. Their money doesn't come from nowhere. So South Korea, unless something radical is done to correct this problem, will literally disappear as a culture from the earth. It will become an archive of what South Korea once was. The current solution that world leaders have for this is to import people to shore up their population. So they're importing. This is why there's so much immigration going on all around the world, is because literally the populations are declining and they're bringing in more sort of, what can we say, more prone to reproducing populations from other countries and putting them into those places. But that's a stopgap measure, and it's also highly disruptive, and really, there's a lot of problems with that. Not only for the people who are in those countries, but for the people who are displaced and now in a foreign place and, suffering prejudice and all that sort of stuff. So that they react humanly. And it's really not anybody's fault. This is just the government trying to sort things out. But all of a sudden, we have another solution on hand, which is technology. So technology will start to very rapidly give us and politicians solutions that they have no choice but to adopt. And one of those is the solution of, okay, if you've got a very small population of working age people who are getting older and older, the obvious solution is to stop them getting older and keep them working for longer. So all of a sudden you'll have governments going, we need to funnel money into this research to make people live longer. Because if we don't, we're going to run out of population that can actually do anything. And so all of a sudden there'll be this big public, this big government top-down run propaganda campaign to adopt rejuvenation therapies and rejuvenation chemicals and drugs and all this sort of stuff. And it'll be as simple as your DNA is altered, CRISPR, and all of a sudden you're back to being 35 again. Or 28 looking, when previously you were 60. And you will continue to be 30 for a long, long time, unless, you get some sort of horrible injury and die. But that's what we're looking at. The solution is staring us right in the face. It's like we need a technological solution to this, not a sociological one. And that's like an inexorable evolutionary force, which is irresistible. At this point, I think it's completely unavoidable. It's going to happen, and it's going to happen quite rapidly in the next 10 years or so. Hey, thanks, Liquid. Cyberpunk dystopia is an unfortunate possibility. Yeah, I mean, there's people obviously who are going to miss out on this tech wave by just being staunchly anti-rejuvenation, for instance. Like my mum is one of those people. She's just like, no, I wouldn't want to be 35 again. I was like, how do you know? How do you know? It's like, it's like my great aunt is 103 years old, right? And she's 103, and she's basically not having a good time, not enjoying her life. She's just waiting for the end. And I'm like, imagine if you like just gave her a pill, and over the course of several weeks, she just gets better and better and better, and gets younger and younger and younger, and all of a sudden she's 30 again. That would be crazy. And it's like, well, do you still want to die? No. All of a sudden, it's like, go to your average 30-year-old and say, hey, your lifespan is ending tomorrow. Do you want to die now? It's like, no, of course not. I want to live. I'm young. I'm vital. I can do things. It's age is the crippling thing, but if we can avoid that, yeah, fantastic. I think people's attitude will change quite a bit. Now, how does that tie back into Dungeons & Dragons? Mind Flayers! Now, Mind Flayers are an interesting species. Very, very interesting. First of all, they're from the Far Realm. So what is the Far Realm? That's the first thing we address in the video. What is the Far Realm? What are higher dimensions? What is the vortex that stops the immortals from going to higher dimensional planes? What are higher dimensional planes in Dungeons & Dragons? How does it all connect? How do immortals operate? Where are the great old ones? What is the story of them? Yeah, all of that sort of stuff. Yeah, the funny thing is I consider myself to be retired too, because I work for myself, right? And I don't feel like what I do is necessarily work, right? It's that old, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. Well, I'm in that very privileged position thanks to you. You, thanks to you. Oh yeah, I'm going to be the first person to embrace this. I'm going to be the early adopter. Well, yes, well, I'm feeling great. Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to be the tech priest of this new age. I've been waiting for this my entire life. I've been waiting for this, and now we're finally at what I've been waiting for. So this feels normal to me. Like, yeah, the more technologically advanced and wackadoo, the science and integration becomes, the more, and the craziness, all the wars and all the politics and all the far right reaction and all that sort of stuff. Those are the dying gasps of a civilization which is about to be superseded. So the best thing we can do is just ignore these fucking people. Ignore them. Don't give them any money. Don't give them any votes. Just ignore them. They're just tyrants circling the drain. We've just unlocked, for instance, we've got enough hydrogen locked in the surface of the earth and rock stratas and formations and stuff. There's massive deposits in France. There's massive deposits in like various areas around the world. Australia, Canada, the US, anywhere with a lot of land area. There is enough hydrogen gas from natural processes locked in the rock that we can mine and extract to provide all of the energy that we need for the next 100,000 years. It's right there. So all of the processes at the moment for extracting natural gases usually produce carbon monoxide, methane, and they get it from coal and all sorts of other stuff at the moment. That's completely avoidable. So we can use a combination of solar and wind generation for our incidental industrial power, basically extract all the hydrogen and just burn everything for hydrogen. The hydrogen burns in the atmosphere, producing water. The water can be used for other things too. So we're transitioning into a completely clean energy future very, very quickly. What happens when people from Dark Sun go to Ravenloft? I don't know. I've never really thought about that. It would be a very, very weird environment for people from Athos to go to Ravenloft. Like a completely foreign environment for them. Like the architecture, the environment, the creatures. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they have vampires in Dark Sun in the world of Athos. Yeah, the equator will heat up to the point where nobody can live there. And also we'll have bands of storms just off that, about the latitude and longitude, like about 45 degree south or north, that'll be just Storm Alley. That'll be a continual hurricane, essentially, just circling the world. And it won't stop ever. Never use a password manager ever. Yeah, I've learned that. So I'm never going to use Google Chrome again. At the moment, I'm using... Actually, I'm not even going to tell you what I'm using. And yeah, I've got... So I access everything through an authenticator app on my phone. So I have to use a combination of my phone and my PC to access anything, which I highly recommend to everybody. Get an authenticator app. Yeah. So what happens is, like, if I'm logging into PayPal, for instance, I put in my password, and then I have to use a code from the authenticator. The code regenerates every like 30 seconds or so. You're like got to type it in real quickly. So it's very hard to hack that. Anyway, so yeah, bottom line, I'm an optimist anyway. It's going to get very, very harsh. A lot of people are going to suffer very, very badly because of the current people that are voted into power just being numbskulls who can't see what's going on. I mean, unfortunately, intelligence isn't a qualification for world leadership. It should be. But yeah, I'm perfectly fine with testing the people that get voted into power. It's just like, well, okay, you're a popular figurehead, so if you aren't tested to be a certain level of skill, you don't get to administer anything. You just get to report what's being done to your constituents, but you don't make any decisions. Essentially, yeah, those people, it's like they're not representing the people that they vote for. That's ridiculous. So yeah, it's going to be bad. There's going to be a lot of, these petty tyrants are dying exactly as we predicted them to, with petty wars and distractions in their same tactics, because they don't know anything else. They're just, yeah. And the people who are currently in power are just greedy despot tyrants who are only in it for themselves and should absolutely be despised for what they are. Enemies of humanity who are not doing anything to help future generations whatsoever. So they're all scum. But there are people like me working in the background, quietly, unassuming, taking down evil corporations like Hasbro for the greater good. My little pocket of reality is just concerned with entertainment and spreading awareness and getting everybody together around a table or a Zoom chat to play and form social bonds that are the most richly rewarding ones they will have in their entire life. I don't know how many times I've heard people say that they met their partner, like even Mr. X, his forward in his latest book, the Sands of Doom adventure campaign, which I backed, and I got the PDF and I was reading it last night. It's good. Mr. X, if I can give you some advice, Furman, never ever start a Kickstarter for an RPG until you've written the thing already. I think you know that already now. Yeah, so that's why I've spent so much time like making Super Atomic before I ever started a Kickstarter. And then when it got to the point where it could be Kickstarter, I was just like, you know what? I don't want to deal with Kickstarter. I don't want to deal with Kickstarter or Indiegogo because I don't really believe in those platforms as a moral, ethical entity anyway. Anything where you can be ripped off with no support from the company, and they're like, well, it's basically a donation, an investment, It's like, no. There should be consequences like for shit like that. Like there's one project at the moment, Abode, the guy that made the waves about Vanta Black being copyrighted and him saying you can't copyright a color, so he made his version of Vanta Black, that guy. So he ran a Kickstarter where he was going to essentially make a replacement for Adobe because everybody hates... Ooh, that weather's getting bad. Everybody hates Adobe's pricing policy, like just continually bleeding you of money for no reason. And he was like, well, no, I'm just going to make a replacement for Adobe. It's not going to have AI in it. It's going to have all the tools and things and stuff. And this guy is not a software development company. He's just some guy. And I backed it because I thought, maybe, but it's been like 2.5 years, and he's gone radio silent, and he's like put out a message. Like the last message he put out is like, it should be out barring any craziness on Tuesday. And then Tuesday comes and passes, and it's like 2 weeks later, and everybody in the comments like, no. I'm like, yeah, well, you know, you win some, you lose some on Kickstarter, and Indiegogo you lose most. And then of course we've got Palladium Books, who is now got a Kickstarter for the Promise of Power video game, which was originally on the Engage platform, which if you've never heard of it, you're not the only one, that's for sure. That's probably why it failed. So they had this game that by all accounts was pretty good, and now they're kickstartering to get it on like Steam and PC and all that sort of stuff. So they're remastering it and opening it up to other platforms and stuff. However, I have to, as a responsible person in the community, say go into Kickstarters with Palladium Books. If it's not a book that they're kickstartering, a book project, be cautious, be wary, because in the past, I have to say that they have failed miserably with their other product launches. So, for instance, their Robotech miniatures and stuff like that. A lot of people got ripped off, and that's just the truth of it. So be wary when it comes to Palladium and other products and Kickstarters, but for sure support it when it comes out. You know, go and buy it. Absolutely. Just don't fund it before it arrives, is what I'm saying. And yeah, Palladium, you shouldn't be doing that in the first place. You're not an indie producer. Okay, you shouldn't be using Kickstarter. Speaking of Kickstarter, Rifts Phase World is coming into Savage Rifts. Oh, excellent. Good. I haven't actually, I'm an old school Rifts fan. I'm an old school Palladium fan. So I know that system like the back of my hand because I played it for decades, right? Decades. Super Atomic, the bones of Super Atomic is inspired very much from Heroes Unlimited. So yeah, it's a vastly different game, of course. And yeah, there's no copyright sort of things going on there. It's just, you know, an homage and stuff because you can't copyright superpowers and things. But yeah, it's I know the system like the back of my hand. So I've never learned the Savage Rifts thing, and the Savage World rules. Just yeah, it's just another rule system that I don't want to learn. But it is easier. It's more. It has attracted a whole new audience to the game, and so I'm very excited that Phase World is a fantastic expansion setting for the cosmology of Rifts. Yeah. Heads up, Fourth Wall is only for creators on the App Store, otherwise keep on rocking. Oh, okay. So the app is only for creators, not for people just using Fourth Wall. That's interesting. Might have a word with them about that. The great thing is the added the side effect of or the bonus from getting so much support so quickly on Fourth Wall with all the annual memberships and stuff is that that popped me into a whole new category of like the 10% club, because I topped $1,000 in earnings in 1 month just from everybody pouring in there and all of the memberships and stuff and things. So that's fantastic, and it sounds like a lot, but like it's absolutely needed to cover the 2 weeks or so that I had no content coming out, and also just the massive drop off because all of the playlists and things like that people were using are currently not available, and I'm rebuilding everything very carefully as I go. So you'll see the playlists will be much more organized, something that I should have done years ago. In fact, this is a really good kick in the ass to get me to sort out my channel and turn it into a lean, mean law producing machine. So I'm going to be most of my work for the next several months, probably the rest of the year, is doing those commission videos. I've got eight or nine, or about 10 people who are annual members now. So I've got one video down. I'm doing the next one, and I've got like 8 more to do when they give me what they want me to do. I'm really looking forward to everybody's suggestions. They've been bang on so far. And in between, I'm going to be remastering a lot of videos. Like you already saw the Anarok Desert remaster. The Knoll video is going to be next. Then there's other few. These are videos, those ones that I listed in the community chat on YouTube are the ones that have monetization issues due to songs that were in the front of the video, which I have licensed to use because I was a member of the sites that were providing that music at the time. But every single time there's a reset or re-upload or something like that, third party comes in, copyright claims the video, starts taking the money immediately, which is the system that YouTube has got set up because they're, these third party things. Luckily, we can avoid this these days by using Sony and various other websites which produce AI-produced music for you. So that completely avoids copyright issues completely. So I never have to worry about that again. I can produce my own music as long as I want. That's pretty much the only AI that I will rely on going forward. I use a lot less AI-generated images now in my videos, and that will continue as well. Just because I like highlighting artists and stuff, and the work that they do. So a lot of artwork from like Magic the Gathering cards and things like that will be in my videos, and sourced from wherever. A lot more. I will use things like 3D generated maps of Toril, and in the exclusive content, you'll see a lot more video clip sort of things like, zoom backs from planets and stuff like that. But not in the free content on YouTube, just because it's a little bit problematic. Like I might use something that'll be claimed by BBC or something like that. Like there's a really good scene of like zooming over a planet's surface on the Walking with Dinosaurs show. I can use that in the fourth wall content, but I cannot use that in YouTube. So that gives you some idea of the sort of added value that having a locked off from YouTube content source. Also, as I was saying before, those videos are available for download as a digital product to fourth wall members. That means that you can that you own it. It's on your thing. You can access it anywhere. You don't have to be online. So if you want to turn it into, if you want to just listen to it, there's no ads from YouTube or anything either. So it's just pure content directly downloaded for you forever. Hey, John Monk, thank you. AJ, for this from fourth wall. How did you type that sentence? From fourth wall, you've been issued a membership refund of $5 to your original payment method. What happened to this? Oh, okay, yeah. So when I lost access to everything, I also lost access to my original fourth wall shop page. So all of the members of that, they will see that original shop page is being shut down. So they're being issued refunds there were no annual members on there, so they're not getting any annual membership refunds. But everybody's getting a refund of their monthly subscription there, so that they can move over to the fourth wall that I have linked in all of my videos and stuff now. So yeah, unfortunately, I lost access to the original fourth wall. So the new fourth wall is what everybody's signing up for. So no biggie, you haven't lost out anything. Just jump onto the new fourth wall and you'll see all the content and stuff there. So sorry for any of the confusion. I did actually put a message in the post, the community post thing is there. Obviously, a few people didn't read that, but that's what's going on. So yeah, it's just a cleanup. Cool. Okay. Excellent. Hey, Donnie. I do recommend everybody, I'm very active on Discord, and I do notify when I'm doing live streams and stuff like that on Discord. It's my main sort of communication source for everybody. It's my message board. It's where I chat, it's where I video chat, it's where I answer questions and plan content and stuff like that. So if you are a member of my Discord or my YouTube channel, and you have access to like the Gluminati, and there's now a fourth wall section on there as well. That's where we discuss the fourth wall content and what's going on there. And I pay very, very close attention to what the Gluminati says, wants, and desires. Essentially, they are my bosses. That's an exclusive area for paying customers, right? So while I do listen to everybody else, obviously I work for a living, and the people that pay me the money are the people that I'm going to listen to the most. What do you expect? Fair is fair. Oh, good, Alex. Yeah. Yeah, happy Pride Month, everybody. Unfortunately, I've lost my my Ace T-shirt. But yeah, I'm wearing black. There's bound to be some grey and purple on here somewhere. Oh yeah, available on the Fourth Walls site is this merch for Super Atomic. Get in before the game goes completely ballistic, and you can say, "Hey man, I got the T-shirt before it was even published." Yeah, it's almost July. Oh, thank goodness, man. This has been a month for everybody, isn't it? Hasn't it? Hasn't it been a month? Have you had everything suddenly contract, go pear-shaped, and then have to start again this month? Personally? Because it feels like everybody's going through it this month, man. Really. Just everybody's had something end and had to start again. Like contraction and expansion, disaster and new avenues. And there's a lot of people, of course, who just see the disaster and collapse and don't do anything and fall into apathy. But there's a lot of people who like me, see it as an opportunity, right? So I think part of the reason why I managed to sort of keep my shit together during the hack is that I've been through terrible situations like that before. I've been socially cancelled on YouTube. And the difference then was that I didn't have any support. Nobody knew who I was. I just got cancelled and ignored and hated by everybody who I thought to be, my friends that I was interacting and gaming and stuff with. So that was much, much harsher, really. And that was what drove me to do the YouTube in the first place. So every disaster I've had has been a massive opportunity in disguise. And I think that's a really good way to go through life, is like, hey man, I've had bad situations before that I've survived, and this is another bad situation, and there's probably something really good going to come out of this, and I'm going to keep searching and striving and working until I find what that is, and just bear with it, just bear with it. Work through it. A TikTok ad? You got a TikTok ad? Ugh. Yeah, it's definitely a winter here in New Zealand at the moment. We're really getting it right now. You're starting a new job in a week, Comic Nut. There you go. Hey, Donnie. Oh, I'm not even going to get into the whole cancelled saga because I actually have anxiety whenever I talk about that. So I don't talk about it. It was bad. It was bad. It was shitty. It was really, really shitty. Some people did some really, really shitty stuff to me. Yeah. And a lot of people who should have been my friends and had my back turned on me rather than being, tarred with the same brush. Dave at Nerdarchy, for instance, he stabbed me right in the back. So that's why I have nothing to do with the Nerdarchy channel. Fine with saying that because I've extended the olive branch many times to him and he's always been too chicken shit to take it. So, because he knows what he did. So yeah, fuck those guys. Anyway, moving on. Other people stuck with me and supported me, and they have been my friends forever. And I have supported them. Like Juve, for instance, he had to move from I think it was South Carolina up to Florida or something like that, and I gave him like $400 for the moving fees and stuff like that because he really needed it. Because I was in a position to help him, and he helped me and stuck by me during one of the worst times in my life. So yeah, I'm the sort of person who, if you help me out, I'll have your back forever. Yeah, if you stick with me, I'm a good friend, or I strive to be. I want to be that person. Hi Sage, check your levels on your mic. You're coming through a little strong. Oh, sorry. Sorry. And I hope you were given you the use to make it the kerfuffle. Yeah, it's been really good. There's been a lot of people watching through. Yeah, it was awful. There's been a lot of people who have been watching my old content and really enjoying the old videos and stuff. And that's great because I went back and looked at a few of them. Like one of them when my mouth was messed up before I started using the AI voice and I could hear it and I was just like, oh, that sounds awful. But yeah, going forward, everything's going to be good. Anzacs, yeah. You'd rather rain and cool than blazing hot and dry? Nah, I'm the opposite. I'd much rather dry, even though I'm very much a water person. As long as there's water and air conditioning, I'd prefer hot and dry. But cold and dry is also really nice. Like down south in the South Island, the winters are harder, but they're also drier, so they're much nicer. Like the bone chilling cold of the Central North Island is what I grew up with as a kid. I literally grew up on the slopes of Mount I grew up in Mordor. So I was born in Rotorua, which is a geothermal hotspot. It's also now considered like the adventure. Like there's two places where you go on adrenaline fueled New Zealand adventures, bungee jumping, all that sort of stuff. Down south, it's Queenstown, and in the north, it's Rotorua, which we call Roto Vegas, which is funny because they don't even have a casino. But it's an entertainment capital, like an adventure sport place. It's also a geothermal hotspot where there's, it used to be that people actually ran their house power and heating on geothermal bores that they just dug down in the ground. So literally bore a hole in the ground and hot steam comes up. So they had to check for radon levels in basements and stuff because of, volcanic gases can be toxic. And they had to keep all of their computers in sealed air-conditioned rooms because the sulfur and stuff in the air would literally, sulfuric acid would eat away the circuits. And that's where I was born. Now, the funny thing is I have an allergy to sulfur as a result of that, and I'm highly sensitive to the smell or taste of sulfur. And whenever I go back to the town that I was born in, I get a ever-building allergic reaction, which gives me cold and flu symptoms. So after a few days, I'm just like... and so, yeah, but I moved away from there very quickly, and we moved to Turangi in the North Island, Central North Island, which is a bone-chillingly cold place for half of the year. Those stories about, when I was a kid, I walked through snow barefoot, literally played rugby barefoot in shorts in frost, like frost. Clear memories of walking to school and cracking puddles, the ice on puddles with my bare feet, and snapping off icicles and sucking them like ice blocks because we'd leave the taps on in the afternoon, and then in the morning though they had these big frozen icicles. That's literally what I grew up in. And then at the age of about 7 or 8, I moved to the Coromandel in the sort of northeast, east of Auckland. And yeah, just beautiful place. And we went on a holiday, like a camping holiday there, and then just none of us wanted to leave. So my parents made the very wise decision to just move there, up and move. And we did. And we worked and we slaved, and we eventually opened a family restaurant. And I spent my formative teenage, young life and teenage years working in the restaurant, studying at school, and hanging out with my mates. I had a pretty good upbringing, really. Pretty good childhood. Very privileged. All right. Back to the chat. Hey, TJ. Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Saint Martha and D&D. Can switch channels only to overfan. Oh, by the way, we've had a request, Mr. Welch, to do a video together. So, yeah, if you want to do a lore video with me and pop it up on my channel, I've had a request for me and you to do it. So this would be particularly appropriate as I'm going to be talking about like Mystara Immortals and stuff. So if you want to chat with me about Immortals on camera sometime, by all means. Pioneer headphones? What? These ones? No, they're JBL. I'm over and done with buying expensive headphones because they always crap out. They're such a horrible waste of money. Tarask is a bioweapon. Nice. Amarillo, Texas? Okay. I'll take your word for it. I never got to Texas. As far as I got, Arizona was as close as I got to Texas. I really liked Arizona. How do we know this is the real you and not some AI bot? I don't know. How do you confirm that I'm not a robot? Oh, dead air. There you go. Not saying anything for a few minutes. That's pretty good confirmation that I'm not a robot. Roger all. Yeah, well, the Sage has not gone anywhere. And there will be snatches of the Sage for sure. Snatches of the Sage? That doesn't sound very good. There'll be parts of me narrating things. But I would like to sort of reserve those to the occasional video, like a tour of Candlekeep from the Sage. You know, that's really appropriate. Or, you know, visiting Lurin, the nation of the halflings, or a conversation with Larlock, where I'm playing the Sage and Larlock at the same time in a conversation, a dialogue about some part of obscure Dungeons and Dragons lore, which gives you a first-hand perspective, you know, on those characters. That's I think is more appropriate. But when I'm talking about, you know, the Demon Lord Beelzebub or something like that, I think it's more appropriate that I just get straight into the information, because people click on those videos with the expectation that they get that information straight away. So yeah, you'll notice that I'm cutting, when I remaster things, I cut out any intro or outro blaring music, because I'm now considerate of the fact that people listen to those playlists to sleep, you know. So your feedback to me alters the way that I make content. So the more I learn about your viewing habits and what you enjoy, the more I craft and tailor my content to fit the, you know, the full range of people's interests in my channel. So I have to always weigh things up and balance things up. But the primary important thing is that, one, I love what I do. I'm passionate about it, and that passion needs to be there because it's present in my work. And you can tell when I'm not into something or I am. Like, you guys just know what my attitude towards something is, but you can hear it in my tone, and you let me know through the comments and stuff if I'm sounding bored or whatever. And I have to be mindful of like the general audience coming into the channel as well, so something can't be incredibly niche. And yeah, just, you know, people who, their viewing habits, what time of day they listen to, what they're doing when they watch the videos or listen to the videos, what sort of medium they're watching them on, what time of day they watch them, what their attitude is, and then of course the different topics and subjects and things. So it's, yeah, I'm paying very careful, close attention to what you guys write and say to me. Yeah, it's my job. Yeah, ASMR Sage time. That's why, you know, I'll continue with the short story narrations and stuff. The last short story that I did, I got to admit, it was a clunker. That was not a great story. It was kind of like an extract from the middle of a novel series that should probably never really have been published in Dragon Magazine at all. And the writing was kind of shit. Like, it was all over the place. Yeah. But, I mean, that's a great comparison for the other short stories that are in Dragon Magazine. It's like, this is not a particularly good one, but, you know, you got to represent, and, you know, there it is. So I literally just sort of go through all of the Dragon Magazine stories and kind of pick one at random. That's kind of how I've been doing it. But if you have any particular favorite, this applies to anybody. I'm asking you directly. Like, let me know on Discord or you know, on Fourth Wall or on just comments down below. If you've got any particular favorite short story that has been published in Dragon Magazine, let me know. If you want me to narrate it, that's vital. I really want to know which ones are the best as far as you are concerned. No, I'll never edit out the imp conversation because I really liked it. I thought that was really funny. There's a lot of people that hate it, but I don't care. And also, that's like a classic video, early video of mine. Yeah, it's a classic. Hey, thanks, Morgan. Hey, Donnie. Discuss what you've learned about being a YouTuber from day one versus what you now know. Okay, so when I started out on YouTube, I had no intention of doing this. I was working at a lab. The only reason why I used YouTube videos is because I was one of the admins on DM Scotty's crafting message board. And I, so if you look at my very early videos, I even wear like a DM's Craft t-shirt, and it's got a DM's Craft logo thingy, because essentially I was just using it as a video message to everybody on the server, or the message board, not a Discord server, the message board, about crafting competitions and stuff that we would run every week for making Dungeons and Dragons terrain. That's why my channel is called The Mighty Glue Stick. And I had no idea that you know, I would ever going to be a full-time YouTuber. That was just completely not even in the realm of possibility. Not only because, you know, YouTube was a very different beast back then, and there were very few people that were like, because this is like 13 years ago, very few people who were making any money on YouTube, and they certainly weren't doing any sort of thing like the role-playing. The pervading attitude around all role players back in the day, like this is even before Brigade, the YouTube RPG Brigade, and Brigade Con and all that sort of stuff, was never make money out of the hobby. Nobody should make money out of the hobby. That was the prevailing attitude amongst basically all of the role players. Nobody should make any money out of this hobby. You should just be producing fan content for free. Nobody should be monetizing YouTube videos or put ads on YouTube videos, or, you know, be seeking sponsorship and stuff. There were some very notable exceptions, including one very early off villain, who's now no longer with us. Well, I'm sure he's still alive, but he certainly has no presence on the internet, which is amazing considering how popular he was. That was Dawn Forgecast. And that son of a bitch definitely deserved to get forgotten. Yeah, but he was doing some really shady, underhanded stuff. Like he had fake accounts that he would like prop somebody up and thumbs up their content, or no, he had his account there. He'd give them positive messages and then prop them up, and then he had fake accounts where he would come in and down thumb all their videos and put negative trolling comments on there because he considered them competition, right? Like it's yeah. People that sort of people who attack people for money or, you know, perceived clout or whatever, I fucking just do better. Just do better and win by merit. Don't do anything to hamper anybody else. Just do your best and let everybody decide for their own, you know? Anyway, he's gone. And yeah, the prevailing attitude back then is like if you tried selling anything, you just got trolled, man, a lot. So yeah, this channel here and Mr. X and all the guys who are full-time like YouTubers, Ginny D and Pointy Hat and all those sort of people, they would not have existed back then. It was just impossible. Like the prevailing attitude amongst role players would have just like chopped them off at the knees immediately. Particularly Jenny D, because it was a misogynistic sort of atmosphere as well. So yeah, we've come a long way, and the first streaming software that arrived, which was like Google Hangouts and things like that, people latched onto that immediately, and as soon as we were able to stream games and stuff, we realized that it was going to explode, because role-playing is a perfect medium for streaming entertainment. And we were right. Here's Critical Role and various others, you know, that sort of stuff. And of course, you know, the celebrities rose up, and then Stranger Things propelled everything into mainstream. And it's a very different kettle of fish these days. So what I know now is I know exactly how to get a channel monetized and stuff. But I have a very different situation. Sorry, this is my delivery. You're a hero. Sorry about that. Oops, almost reached my thing. That was the courier delivery lady, an absolute torrential downpour, and me just telling her she's a fucking hero because she just delivered my fresh meat order from the meat company. Delivery during a rainstorm, yeah. Hardcore Kiwis, man. It's like rain. Oh, this is you call this rain? It's only coming sideways. Yeah, no. We're like Scottish people in that regard. Yeah, so I started YouTube about 13 years ago, 12 or 13 years ago. I only started earning money on it quite late in the piece. I think it was like 3 or 4 years before I started earning anything. And it was like $40 for the month. I was like, oh, I didn't even notice that I started to earn money on YouTube until I got like a notification. Oh, you have money due to get paid out. I was like, where did that come from? And then all of a sudden, I really started concentrating on YouTube and the D&D lore. And that was thanks to feedback from people who were watching me crafting a roper out of some toilet roll and some twine and hot glue. And they were asking me all these lore questions about ropers and, where do ropers come from and all that sort of stuff. And so during the stream, I'm like talking about all the lore that I know about ropers. And slowly but surely, the crafting fell by the wayside, and and here we are now. I'm. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you really got to feel for people who are like, have to work in these sort of things. Like, on the one hand, they get to work outside and travel and stuff like that, which is cool. I hate being stuck in an office and stuff all day. But on the other hand, they have to deal with days like today where it's just like absolutely torrential, horrible weather. And yeah, you should for sure let them know that they're heroes. Oh, thanks, Julia. Yeah, it was a good time. And I really enjoyed the crafting competitions and stuff that we had because it challenged us, So we'd have a theme every month. And people would produce terrain or props and stuff for the game. Not for any prizes or anything, but just for cred, And I still do a lot of like things. Here's a roper, for instance, that I crafted quite some time ago. And this is Piercer and Roper, Underdark detectives from the mean streets of Menzo Baranzan. The reason why he's wearing a donut on his head is not only to protect everybody from his spike, but see, there's a bite out of it. It's actually like an AA badge. The pink donuts represents the flavor enhancer from the delicious pink ooze. So he's highly addicted to like onion dip. And delicious pink ooze. It's like getting addicted to MSG, like it's crack, right? And so he's sworn off the spice. Anyway, I really want to I'll redo Roper at some point, and I'll make his eye movable and take away the fixed tentacles and just use grey plasticine instead, so I can animate him. And also give him a hinged jaw so he can talk. Like, rah, 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 rah. And then I'll hopefully do some animated shorts of Piercer and Roper operating in the mean streets of Menzo Baranzan. They also have a 1970s Dodge Charger, which is now a magical artifact. So, and whenever I draw it, it's always mid-air, doing a Dukes of Hazzard like crazy thing with like Roper shooting a revolver out the window. It's just like, why not? Go crazy with it. Yeah, couriers are very much underappreciated. Yeah, that's a way to look at it, Pops. Oh, sorry, Morgan. I almost missed that. Demon meets the AI from I have no mouth but must scream. Must scream. No mouth but it must scream. I've heard of that. Flail snail. I don't think I've done a flail snail recently. I should do. One of the things I really love about flail snails is the fact that they can rappel down on their. They use their web to their sort of snotty thingy to like abseil down. Like they're really good at navigating the Underdark. Oh, Super Atomic's good. We're basically just doing the art stuff at the moment. So the art stuff is fairly complicated because we're doing all the artwork ourselves. So for instance, Last night I was doing some pencils. So there's an example of me doing a pencil for an illustration for Superatomic. Yes, I know it's on printer paper using a pencil because I'm old school. But here we have a hero who's he's been horribly damaged. So there's a bit of his arm missing and a bit of his rib cage has been blown out. He's got some bullet holes there, and his arm is kind of messed up as well. And he's got a hole in his head. So it represents super regeneration, one of the powers that you can have. But Superatomic has got, it's got 163 major powers, 375 minor powers. It's got 295 mutations, 200 power origins, 100 character backgrounds, and that's not even getting into the tools for the Dungeon Master or the training, the special training and stuff. So it's absolutely jammed packed with stuff. And because the rules consist of basically this one page, that's all that you reference during the play of the game. All of the rest of it is basically character building and prepping for the game, and the rest of it is all just improv and theatre of the mind and using single dice rolls with no modifiers to determine everything. So the very idea behind Superatomic and the system that is going to be adapted to various other genres. So the next thing I do after Superatomic will be a fantasy version, because feedback from people saying, look, we need like a Shadow Dark version of this sort of thing. I'm like, oh, okay. So for instance, if you roll a d20 and you get a 3, your brain will say, well, that's a fail. Well, I just sort of ran with that and said, okay, well, it doesn't really matter what modifiers and stuff you add to a random dice roll, because what is a +6 really? It's you know, you're still going to roll a 1 or a 20. It's still going to be a pass or a fail, you know. So I just went, well, okay, what if every single number meant something? So if you roll a 3, for instance, it's a fumbled attempt, more embarrassing than effective. If you roll a 14, it's a competent execution of the thing. If you roll a 20, it's a critical success. If you roll a 1, it's a dismal failure, you know. So I just got rid of all of the dice mechanics and said, well, what does the dice actually mean? If you keep modifying it, you know, yeah, just make it a straight dice roll. So that's what I did. And then I figured that all of the different dice basically mean the same. These numbers mean the same thing. And I just made a chart that it's a universal dice chart. That's all you need. That's all you need dice for, is just random determination of things. All the modifiers and all that sort of stuff is just baggage from wargaming, really. All of the people who are into the nitty-gritty mechanics, really, those are just unnecessary for roleplay. And that's becoming an increasingly prevalent force in role-playing, where people either go super crunch, and if they want to go super crunch, there are existing games that scratch that itch. Pathfinder, for instance, is the super crunch like that everybody's looking for. So anybody who's really into rules mechanics and nuances and power combos and all that sort of stuff, and feat trees and, you know, epic level classes and stuff, that's what Pathfinder is for. But for everything else, everybody else is like latching on to, wow, you know, that's why Shadow Dark is so good, for instance, because it's just exactly what everybody was looking for. It's old school without all the baggage of Thaco and all that sort of stuff and all of the restrictions and things. Granted, it has a lot of restrictions, but it's also a perfect template for homebrewing and ad-libbing and adding all your own stuff as well. I just took to, after the OGL, I took to Shadow Dark like a duck to water, and I haven't played 5th edition since the OGL. So that's been 2 years now. So yeah. So you don't see a lot of like any game mechanics and stuff in my videos anymore. It's all just lore, because I have no interest in 5th edition really as a rule system. It's still perfectly workable. I'd still play it if it was going, but I'm not going to run it, you know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Pathfinder's not everybody's cup of tea, for sure. It's not my cup of tea either. For me, my aversion to complex or overly complex rules mechanics is just due to sheer grind of playing role-playing games for 40 years. You know, I'm just like, if I read one more complicated dice system, or somebody comes at me with like, I've got this dice mechanics, like, brother, I've seen so many dice mechanics over the years, like literally more than you've had hot dinners, and I am sick to death of listening to it. You know, like, give me a really good campaign story, or a really good character arc, or a really good like idea behind a narrative tool that you use in role-playing. But dice mechanics bore the shit out of me, so I just avoided them entirely. So yeah, Super Atomic is not just a name for the, you know, superheroes. It's also the super atomic system. Like, it's literally elemental. It's down to its basic elements of role-playing. So I get rid of everything that is not necessary for the fun and the role-play aspect of the game, and enhance everything that through all my years of experience makes a really good character, makes a really good situation for a dungeon master, or the host of the game in this case. So I get rid of dungeon master and DM, and encourage people to say, like, if you're hosting the chat, you're probably the host of the game. If you're, you know, what do we call a person who runs a party? The host, right? Why don't we call a person who runs a party of adventurers the host? Why do we call it the dungeon master or the game master? Let's just get rid of that entirely. It's a baggage of Dungeons and Dragons and that sort of attitude and culture that we don't need anymore. Like, you're literally hosting a party of friends. And if we could get that in our minds, that you're not the master of the situation, you're literally hosting the fun. You're a part of the game. You're not necessarily in complete control of everything. You're just yeah. The person who's running the game should be playing the game too, just in a different way. Anyway, that's my attitude. It either takes off or not, I don't know. But I like to say host, or I'm trying to get that into my mouth just to get Dungeons and Dragons out of it. Yeah, well, that's where the dice rolls come in and things like that. Like, for instance, there's a perfectly fine way to handle a skill check, for instance, in Dungeons and Dragons or any role-playing game without rolling dice at all, which is where you say, okay, to the player, describe to me the situation where you learned that skill. Who was involved? Like, tell me a little anecdote about your character from their past about when they learned that skill, and who they learned it from and what the situation was. So not only does that give the character a chance to talk about themselves, which they love, so they're instantly engaged, it also gives everybody a little break and they can sit back and go, oh, okay, and get to know the character a little more. It gives you, the Dungeon Master, a lead into NPCs and stuff that actually tie to the character's past, because no character wants to be like tied down, but it gives them an opportunity. So like, once they're in the game, they can then write themselves into the story of the game. It's like, when they create the character, quite often these days, people will create a character before they even get to a game, which is crazy, but I can understand why they do that. Hey, thanks, Morgan. Member for 5 months. Bronze Dragon. Cyberpunk D&D cross with gods running megacorps. Yeah. Well, we're going to see some mega AIs soon, which we'll consider to be digital gods. Anyway, so it gives them a chance to narrate. It gives you a chance to hook their character closely into the game. It gives them NPCs that are tied to their character and possibly others, which also are a resource that they can go to. It's like, you remember that sage that you learned it from? He lives nearby. It's like, okay, we can go and ask him questions. That character wouldn't have been in your campaign unless the player invented it, essentially. And then when they've narrated that, that's a success on their skill check, because they've literally narrated their way into making a richer character. So you say, okay, you don't have to roll a dice. Let's just talk about your character for a minute. And then in that story that they're telling, that's when they learned, this is a, Gil Penny's masterwork lock, and there's a secret little hook catch behind here that if you insert a pry rod, it will open up and avoid the spring-loaded trap in the front. I learned that from Master Fanion, who lives in the town next door. And then next time they need a locksmith, Master Fanion is there, and it's entirely an invention of the player who's now interacted with and a part of your game campaign world. So give them that opportunity for their character to grow in your world and avoid dice rolls, right? When it comes to non-critical sort of stuff like that. Any opportunity where you've got a chance to tie them into your game world and not use mechanics, do it in a fun and engaging way. Do it in a way that engages them, so they're talking about the character and they want to be motivated and do that. And it's a perfect opportunity because they know if all I need to do is just tell a little story and I pass the skill check, hell yeah, they're going to go for it, AI is a Primus avatar. Yeah, basically. Okay, Zach, thank you very much. Have fun with your game. I'm actually running a Shadow Dark campaign at the moment. We're going to have our second game of it this weekend on Sunday, which will be Saturday for you. From about 7 p.m. until 10 p.m. is our time slot, and we run that over Zoom. And that's all Kiwis, which is weird because usually I play with Americans and stuff, but it's nice to have a Kiwi group because we all understand each other. Any suggestions for anyone wanting to become another lore sage? Give up friends, family, birthdays, Christmas, lunch, dinner, sleep, any other recreational reading, be obsessive, become addicted to uploading videos, obsessive compulsive, being obsessive compulsive is a bonus. Having the ability to download massive amounts of information to your head very rapidly and then forget about it the next day, never dreaming about your work, and working your ass off for a good 5 years or so before you earn a dime. If you can handle all of that and it sounds like fun, go for it. But otherwise, follow your passions, man. Do whatever you want. Yeah, no, it's an all Kiwi group, not a channel. Got any tips on using heavy magic from Netherall? Yeah, first of all, there are still pockets of it's kind of difficult because when Mystra got killed, all magic shut down. So I wonder whether the liquefied magic, which was condensed, solid magic that was available in Netherall at the time, disappeared at the same time as well because like all of the mythalars and stuff shut down. So I'm not entirely sure if there are any reserves of heavy magic, and I'm also unsure if there's any like wide-scale concentrations of the weave which were available through the mythalars, basically drawing in the weave over vast distances. First of all, keep in mind that Mystra and Mistral and all the other goddesses of magic are emanations of the magic weave itself. So in this case, she's the god of magic, but she's also made of magic. So much like the Raven Queen, she is if you have enough haunted objects in a room, they all contribute towards creating a haunting entity. Final Destination is a perfect example of like how the Raven Queen would be represented. She's an inexorable force that seems to be like fate and memory and all that sort of stuff. Or haunted tarot deck or something like that, where you die according to the particular card that was drawn. That's very Raven Queen. And the weave represents feng shui, natural energy flows, magical runes, power words that were created back in celestial time, where you can hook into and sort of pluck the strings of power that stretch across time. It's very, very complex, and it's been represented by the weave as like a general field, an idea, a flow of magic. So some areas are now woven really thin because they've been very disrupted things. There's areas of dead magic or areas of intense magic or wild magic because of the disruption of the flow of the weave. So that means the goddess of magic herself has dead areas. She has wild areas. She has areas of disruption. So she's a little bit used, she's a little bit tattered, worn for worse for wear over the years. So yeah, not quite as open to everybody using magic as she used to be. She's put some pretty heavy restrictions on magic where previously there were none. Because she's been around the block a few times and she's been abused by the people who she was giving things to in the first place. Bit sad, but there it goes. Of course, Tarsus's folly was a result of Nurgle. Nurgle is a spell weaver, and if you haven't watched my video on spell weavers, absolutely go and watch it. It's very, very pivotal. Eric L. Boyd, one of the main scholars of the Forgotten Realms, who's up there with like Ed Greenwood. He often knows more about the Forgotten Realms than Ed does, because Ed has like written so much. He's, much like me, I've got 1,000 odd videos. Sometimes I forget I've even made a video on a topic. But Eric has got a mind like a steel trap, and his treatise on Nurgle it's just mind blowing. Like the conceptual stuff of like literally how the dream realm was used by the spell weavers before there were any gods at all to form. Okay, so I quite often say they tried to elevate themselves to gods, but they had no concept of what a god was. What they were trying to do was to elevate themselves to a higher plane of existence, a higher dimensional state, to become ascended beings. And they all tried to ascend at the same time. Then what happened was that their massive funneling of morphic power into the dream realms exploded the barrier of the dream realm and turned into the astral plane. And from the astral plane, their ascended impact, their various alignments, right, of various mental states, literally manifested into all of the outer realms, or the outer planes. And within those outer planes, those concepts can coalesce into gods. So they literally, through their disaster and their failed ascension, turned into all of the gods. So Nurgle is a spell weaver. Some of the other gods, the kernel of what they started as, then accumulating other souls and essentially combining them. Like one of the reasons why you climb Mount Celestia, for instance, is to become crafted into exactly the right personality, set of experiences and attitudes to merge with the Godhead at the top of Celestia. So literally, the closer you get to the top of Celestia, the more you realize, oh, I am Pelor. And then when you merge with Pelor, he just grows. So he's a collective being of all of these who give up their individuality and realize, I was Pelor all along. And then, boom, you become more Pelor. So that's kind of how it works. No, Nurgle didn't have a hand in the Weaver's failure. He's been trying to restore the original Spellweaver world through, because they had a back door to their ritual conversion, which was all of these gemstones, these 333 gemstones, incredibly powerful artifacts. One of which is what Gond crafted to contain the Shadowvari. Basically the Lords of Darkness, or the powers of darkness of like Ravenloft, kind of. That's kind of where it points in that direction. A lot of people don't want there to be any, like, I'm perfectly fine with there being no origin story to that sort of stuff, like the Lady of Pain being completely enigmatic, or Pale Knight, never stat them, they're always just a force that's always present, they're immutable. But you can speculate, So I never really confirmed that they're exactly this, but there's good signs to point towards the dark powers being this or this or this, or a combination of things. They're not just one thing. Anyway, so yeah, these gemstones have been split and used for various things. And one of those things that they've been used for is the prison of Tharizdun, the mad god, the god of entropy, the god of, like, who created the abyss and the demons and the Oberth and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, they can't reverse the process because it would essentially unmake the universe. And all of the gods would disappear, they never were. So every single god does not want the Spellweavers to achieve their goal and will step in their way at every opportunity they have. And so Yergil just eventually went, I give up. It's impossible. I'm just going to try to become a different being. So he tried to split his life force between Karsus and the others who were involved, because it wasn't just Karsus involved in that ritual. There was various others as well. So he's literally trying to split himself into these 6 different beings to avoid and to no longer be a spellweaver, because spellweavers have got a very set lifespan. They've got a very set, it's a very long lifespan, but it's a limited one, and it's a hard limit that he was trying to avoid. Even ascension to godhood did not save him from that. So yeah, but I know that. So he gave up his divinity because it was unnecessary to him. He wanted to ascend into a higher state of being, not be a god chained to belief in the astral plane and tied to something which was ephemeral, and as far as he's concerned was a mistake in the first place. God should never have existed. And the entire universe from the Spellweaver's point of view is completely messed up. So yeah, there you go. It's a deep cut lore. Can we go back to Saturday live streams? I missed the regularity. I would like to, yeah. I would like to do more regular live streams. I find them really valuable, and it's a really good opportunity to talk with everybody and get feedback on what's going on. It's just pure slackness on my part. So yeah, I'll endeavor to do more live streams for sure. So yeah, do I have any tips on using heavy magic? First of all, just read up on the lore and what it was. So Empire of Shade has got a good tie into that. The Treatise by Eric L. Boyd, and also any of the Netheril stuff written by Slade is really good, including the whole go back in time and to Netheril story arc, which is really great. Chicken and egg situation, yeah, exactly. Yergil, not Nurgle, Yergil, with a Y, or J, I should say. So that's the prison of Tharizdun, right? So the Tharizdun's prison is conceptual. It's a psychic prison, and it's usually contained within, like, though psychic stuff is always represented by crystal lattices and stuff like that, because it's energy that is so organized that it forms a crystal structure. So it solidifies, literally. So they're literally, each stone is literally a concept. They are like, okay, imagine if there wasn't just like the infinity stones. Imagine if there wasn't just 5 infinity stones. Imagine if there were 333. And you need all of them to reset the universe to what it was when the Spellweavers were the god kings of everything. And there weren't any gods. There were just primordials and ascended beings and old ones. That's all there were. Yeah, so think of those gems, the gems of creation or the gems of reversion, as infinity stones. Why is it always going to be stones? I don't know. I guess because it's, you can find them all over the place. They're portable. They're pretty. They sparkle. I don't know. I really like I've been watching Stargate SG-1, all 10 seasons. I've never actually watched all 10 seasons, and so I've been binge watching them on my minutes off in between work. Because a lot of writing involves long periods of just sitting there and letting your subconscious percolate things, or at least with me in my case. So I've often heard it said that if I sit down in front of a typewriter and I don't write anything for 8 hours, as a writer, that's still working. Yeah, and it's true. There's a lot of contemplating stuff that goes on. You really got to put some thought into stuff sometimes. And sometimes those thoughts, you just got to wait for them to bubble up. But you can feel it working in the background. So it's literally stepping away from the problem, having a slice of cake, and then coming back to it, and you come back to it with fresh eyes. You do that as a writer to get into the flow state. You got to wait and pause, and then wait for your mood to sort of like, I got to get this idea out, and then you get into the flow state, and you get 600 words done in a flash, and then it's afterwards you're like, yeah, that's my experience of it anyway. But why is it stones of power? Yeah, I don't know. Watching Stargate and the Guild's technology and the technology of the ancients is all like light out, like slot in the crystals, and it's like, what's the control crystal? And it's like, if you look at the way that our computers work, for instance, they are still literally working on a piece of silicon crystal. Like, they are crystal based. So, we're not that far off it ourselves. So imagine a optical computer that is operating through a crystal lattice that has literally layers and layers and layers and layers and layers of molecular circuitry. So that's why crystals. It's the structure. Paper plates of power. Yeah. As we know, Ed Greenwood is a lot more restricted in talking about the Forgotten Realms than I am, because he's got non-disclosure agreements and stuff, which the previous generation, like the Geneva crowd, right, the original role-playing writers and stuff like that, they're a litigious bunch, aren't they? Always setting up intellectual property, suing each other, getting the lawyers and accountants involved, penny pinching, petty. Doesn't really surprise me for a bunch of war gamers to everything like rules lawyers, right? And so these NDAs or non-disclosure agreements, quite often they're legitimate, but often it's like, I have no idea. Like, I don't want to speculate on that. I'm working on several other projects, and I feel like sometimes it's a little bit of a sweeping the thing under the carpet. I do not have those same restrictions. I do not have any NDAs. I can talk about anything I want. I can speculate about anything I want. That's why quite often I haven't reached out and had a big discussion with Ed about, the Forgotten Realms and stuff, because I don't want to get him in any trouble whatsoever. Or Eric or George or, Jeff Grubb or Bruce Cordell or any of those guys, working writers and stuff. I don't want anything that I do impacts their ability to work, or, whatever. I don't want any blowback from me getting to them, because I respect them too much for that. So, yeah, I'm not restricted in anything I say, so I have this ability to speculate to my heart's content. And I think kind of, like, I don't really know for sure, but I think they kind of like it. Like, like me being this renegade law master on the outskirts, because I'm keeping the thing alive, for one thing. I don't bother them, for another. And occasionally I do ask them questions, and they're very, very to the point questions, like asking Eric Boyd, for instance, what are the names of the Orc homeworlds? And he gave me the 6 names of the 6 different Orc homeworlds. I was like, wow. So that sort of thing. And of course, anything that Ed says, or Eric or George or any of those, or Jeff or, Bruce, that's canon as far as I'm concerned. Anything that the Wizards of the Coast produces from this point on, in fact, since about halfway through 5th edition, was not canon. And they told you to your faces that they had no respect for the original, lore and stuff like that, and they didn't feel bound to it. That was a massive red flag. It's just like, look, you guys have no right at all to piss on 50 years of literary history and the work of all these people that have came before you, and you just come in and change it to your heart's content because you got some problem, some agenda. Like, you're not scholars. You have no right to this. You don't value it. You don't even understand it. You don't even like, the executives involved don't even understand what a role-playing game is for. Like that Chris Gow, whatever the hell his name was, who saw no difference between a video game and a role-playing, sit down around a tabletop role-playing game, because he is a fucking idiot. He's an idiot, absolute idiot, and the worst kind of prick to have lodged in the middle of your company like that, dug in like an Alabama tick, as they say. But I'm glad he's gone. I'm glad Crawford's gone. A little bit sad that Perkins is gone. And don't get me wrong, Crawford's a great guy, but yeah, no, I didn't like his attitude, or the fact that they were complicit, and they could have done something. They could have put up more of a stand, I'm sure. But, I'm not in their shoes, so I don't know. I can't speak for them. I did find it very disappointing, though, that they kowtowed and produced 5.5 when there was no need to whatsoever. So that was a sad end, really. Mighty glue sticks of power. That's an idea. I mean, they kind of look like a crystal anyway, a glue stick. I always have glue sticks nearby. Right there is my glue gun. Yes. Yeah. My only complaint about the Rings of Power series was it was a little bit cluttered and a little bit disorganized, and didn't really give like characters the ability to shine, and also it was a little bit woke. Like particularly the dwarven culture and stuff like that was a little bit shit. It was a little bit shit. You know, it really didn't represent Lord of the Rings dwarves. All the praise 5th edition. Yeah. I do not own the new D&D books, and I probably never will. I might pick them up secondhand somewhere someday, just to have a look and, you know, laugh at it. But I'll never play it. I don't like it. Yeah, glue sticks are a part of me. You'd be amazed what I can do with a glue gun. Amazed. Oh, I don't know anything about that. Yeah, like I'm not a super fan. I don't get really upset if something is you know, because we never would have seen those turned into a show, and I just want more. You know, I just want more Star Wars and more Star Trek and more Lord of the Rings and more. You know, I would see magicians like Raymond E. Feist's Magicians turned into a series. The Wheel of Time was doomed to failure, just like the books were, because it goes nowhere. That story just goes on and on and on and on and yeah. No, I lost interest in the Wheel of Time books long ago. So any changes that they made to that would have been fine. Yeah, I don't really care. They should never have done a series on Willow, and anything that guy, what's his name? Warwick Davies? Is that his name? Anything he touches generally turns to shit. Like, he's just not a clever guy. He's not a good actor. Stick with playing, you know, very offensive gremlins in Harry Potter. Oh, I'd rewatched Harry Potter recently as well. And that's okay. It's all right. The D&D cinematic universe, yeah. You love the Wheel of Time? Good for you. I mean, I didn't even make it through the Two Towers, the second in the trilogy of the Lord of the Rings, because it was just so boring. Like trekking through tussock. If I saw one more description of trekking through tundra, I would fucking die. It's the same reason why I can't read any of the Game of Thrones original novels. It's because he mentioned capon about 50,000 times at the start of things. Like, what the fuck is a capon? He was just obsessed with these stupid, tortured fucking roosters. It's like, look, not everybody ate capon and stuff. It's like you've done one little bit of historical research and you just just cram it down our throats in this fucking story. And it kind of goes nowhere at the start, and it's like it's not a very good start. It's not really engaging, and I'm sure if you stuck with it, it would be very interesting, but I couldn't do it. It's like, I've got better things to do, man. I need entertainment. That's why I read sci-fi. Fantasy sometimes is just a drag. It's like, get to the fucking action. Start in media res, you know? Get me going. If you're not Raymond E. Feist, if you're not writing, you know, Pug turns into, you know, this, then yeah, what are you doing? Beagle the Infamous. Aren't great. I mean, even R.A. Salvatore wrote a bit of a dud novel in his as his companion of the whole thing. The bit where Wolfgar becomes an alcoholic, and there's this whole other story arc of this couple and their like love affair and stuff, which is very disconnected to the rest of the story and doesn't really. You're like, why am I reading this shit? It's got nothing to do with the characters. And then at the end, it sort of pairs, and it's like, were you writing another story and then you just basically phoned it in and melded it into this novel to save time? Because that's what it felt like, and it was a little bit like, ugh. Then of course the next novel was fine, and on it goes. I guess everybody has an off year, but yeah, that was weird. Kurt Russell playing me? Oh, I'm honored. He's a fantastic actor. I love Kurt Russell. He's a great guy as well. Man, that would be awesome. Yeah, sure. No, I think the guy who plays Cereborn, Galadriel's husband, he actually looks more like me than Kurt Russell does. But Carl Urban can play me for sure. Although it's, I think Carl Urban's a little bit younger than me, just a little bit, but we're about the same age. The Nautic remembers, yeah. Carl Urban can play anyone, that's true. Yeah. I don't want to offend any Wheel of Time fans, for sure. It's just my personal perspective, you understand. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to toddle off, and I'm just glad my internet connection has stayed connected. It's been a good 2-hour odd live stream, so I hope everybody feels a little bit satisfied that I'm back in live and everything's tickety-boo and running again. And yeah, I'll continue to carry on, and hopefully the hack will never happen again, because, yeah, well, it was my fault in the first place, and I've learned my lesson. Boy, have I learned my lesson. Thank you very much for the support, everybody, again, and thank you very much for joining me on the live stream, and I'll, as always, be back with more for you very soon.